And Glenn, you're good, right? So you,
yeah, I'm here.
You're awake?
I'm here. I'm awake.
I don't know if you dozed off. I don't know what's going on.
It's just a slow drone or whatever. Everything's good.
Nick's like,
you promised me dancing girls, but no, I got to listen to you. Well, anyway, go on.
Well, Glenn, when you brought the pole into the place, I was like, wait a minute. What are you doing?
Well, I'm not paying for the hole I put in your ceiling, so that's part of the contract.
Ahoy! This is your captain speaking, Greg Michael of Pinnacle Marine Group, Marine Surveyors, and welcome aboard the Nauti Buoys Boat Show. I'm joined by Captain Happy, Glenn Shadbolt, Marine Mechanic and Shipwright, and aboard this vessel, we talk everything about boats, the build, the mechanics, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We go where the seas take us. The topics will be endless. Electronics, marinas, restaurants, vacations, cruising and fishing. Our show includes live callers with real questions. Let's fare these waters together. Call 772-773-2600 every Tuesday between 5 and 5:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're a guest or a caller, you certainly are naughty. Ahoy, and welcome to the Nauti Buoys Boat Show. I'm your host, Captain Greg Michael, Marine Surveyor, and sitting next to me is our beloved Captain Happy, Glenn Shadbolt, Marine Mechanic and Shipwright. And if you're a guest or a caller, you certainly are naughty. So some quick introductions. We got Glenn Shadbolt. Say hey.
Hey.
Yeah, hey. That's all you got?
That's all I need for now.
For now.
I'm
okay.
Just waiting.
And so we have a great guest today. His name is Nick Lansing from Yachts Centric.
Correct.
Okay, Nick, say hi.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. Glad you're here with us and you have a little time to hang out. So we always start the show with a joke.
Mm-hmm. We? So you dread you. We. Mouse in your pocket. French. I don't know. But anyway.
So and Glenn never likes my jokes. So
I never say that.
Well, you don't smile when I tell him.
There has to be a couple out there that like them.
Okay. Here we go. This is the naughty joke for the Nauti Buoys. An old retired sailor puts on his old uniform and heads for the docks. For old time's sake, he engages a prostitute and takes her up to a room. He's going at it with her as well as he can for a guy his age. But needing some reassurance, he asks, "How am I doing, darling?" Well, the prostitute replies, "Well, old sailor, you're doing about 3 knots. He goes, 3 knots? What's that supposed to mean? She replies, "You're not hard, you're not in, and you're not getting your money back." Good one?
Okay, we're getting there.
All right. We're getting better week by week, I guess. So the first thing we should talk about is we don't like to get political on the show, but we're gonna.
Perfect.
Good. I'm sure being down here in South Florida, you're well aware of what's been going on in the news.
Exactly.
Okay. My comment for this week is this. How the hell does a guy get 130 yards away and shoot a former president? I mean,
it's just the yardage.
I know that, but
140 yards, you're like right in the zone. It's like, just stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. There's no excuse for that.
Right. Nick, what do you say?
I think it's an unbelievable failure on all points. It's just unfathomable. I think Russia and China are probably laughing right now if a 20-year-old kid can get that damn close to the president of the United States and take crack shots at him.
Yeah.
I think we should all be scared at that point.
I got a theory. Maybe I'm I don't like to believe in these conspiracy theories, but listen, Russia, laptop, two impeachments. You tried to jail him, convict him, case after case after case. You called him every name in the book. Now you shot him.
gross negligence at minimum, at absolute minimum. You know, guy drinking and driving doesn't go intend to kill somebody, but the gross negligence is what did it. You know, it's criminal in my opinion.
Because the Navy and all those Navy SEALs couldn't get the job because of DEI.
Yep.
So men that've been shot at that actually know what it's like when someone's actually shooting at you. The best man for the job was just. And we can just, the rest speaks for itself.
And who cares? Who cares if it's a woman, man, whatever? You know, you got people out there that are 5'4" guarding a guy that's 6'3", 300 pounds. Those guys are supposed to be the ones in front of the target and taking the rounds.
That's right.
If you have somebody out there that's not up to the size requirements to do that, then what are they doing out there in the first place? At the end of the day, it's just gross negligence. Once again.
So you saw the woman in front of Trump who was 5'3". I mean,
or the two that were hiding behind the stage behind him. That was not exactly cool. Or the one that couldn't put her gun away. Or
right.
all of the above. Who's trying to put a gun away when there's an active shooter? I don't know anybody's trying to put a gun away in the first place. So yeah,
you don't even know where it goes. That's the
you're not fit enough to even get it in your holster. That's a little scary for the most elite of the elite, supposedly.
Yeah, and you know the rumor is still flying around that this is a hit job. This was a planned hit job. They got a flunky, and you know, listen, did Osborne kill Kennedy? Give me a break. Come on. So, you know, I may think what I want to think.
That was a moving vehicle. You know, that was.
Yeah, but you know what? You threw everything at the guy. It didn't stick.
Yeah.
Now you try to kill him. That's all.
Even if they weren't complicit in it, at the end of the day, the negligence leads you down that path, no matter what.
Right.
You know, they had to be complicit in some extent. You know, whether it was them trying to put this guy up there or them just being that inept at what they were doing, that they basically stuck him up there in the first place. 130 yards is such a chip shot. It's freaking crazy.
It's a 2-foot putt.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. So
exactly.
Hey, listen, they may just seal the election for him.
They probably did. Absolutely. That's if he doesn't die before now and then.
That's right. So, I think there'll be other attempts, and I think they'll keep trying. But
I think they got lucky, and I think they're going to tighten up.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they're going to have to. There's no way around that. He's now not only the presumptive, he is now officially, per the RNC, he is the Republican candidate, you know, and they're going to have to tighten stuff up. There's no doubt about that, but they're going to have to get the F team off there. I wouldn't even call them the B team or the C team. They're so far below the team level at this point. That was like little league, like, you know, like coach pitch kind of stuff, their team, you know. So
that was F troop.
Yeah, it was pretty far down the list.
All right. So we're all on the same page with that, I guess. You cracking open another beer?
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Gonna start the boats.
It's beer time. All right. So let's move on. In just a minute, we're going to talk to Nick about Yachts Centric, and we'll have a call-in question and answer segment. Just to let everybody know again, the call-in number is 772-773-2600. So definitely give us a call. We'll answer all your questions. Definitely marine survey questions, Glenn mechanical questions, and any questions for Nick. We'll be glad to answer. So, all right. Nick, let's start from the beginning. Where are you from? You're from Florida. How'd you find your way into the boating industry? Give us the whole background.
Long story short, I was born in Germany. My dad was in the Army. We bounced from Texas to Germany and Sierra Vista, Arizona. Basically grew up mostly in Orlando, which became a cesspool in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So finally I came down here to sunny, somewhat South Florida in the last little Mayberry section of it. And we ended up here, bought my house here 7.5 years ago. Right. And just love it down here. They're probably going to kick me out at some point, but I'll stay here until they do. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. I worked on cars for almost 20 years before I started doing this. Started a company 7.5 years ago. And just love it, you know. I love it here.
What made you start Yacht Centric?
So I had a good buddy that was selling boats, and my mom was actually real estate. She owns a couple of real estate companies, and I obviously was around cars, and it was like the most interesting things watching my buddy sell boats. It was so the opposite of cars. You know, cars you'd shake the guy's hand, congratulations on your new car, you know, and they'd be on their way. If you need any service, let me know, you know. And my mom would sell somebody a house, or one of her agents would sell her a house, and congratulations, you need some service, you decide to sell it, whatever, let us know. And my buddy would sell a boat, and the first thing the guy would say is, when are we going on vacation? So this guy lived the life, and I was like, how is this guy doing this? Everywhere he goes, it's like every other week he sells a boat, and then the next week he goes on vacation. I said that was probably a pretty cool setup. So I got as close as I could to that and never looked back. I love it.
Good. So just for the audience, what does Yacht Centric do?
All the above. I do a lot of management of boats.
Well, explain that.
So long and short is I kind of always had a lot of the yacht management companies are basically get on a boat and then just call somebody and sub everything out. I always had the intention of trying to bring as much stuff in-house so I can control timing. And because I work with a lot of boats that are actually for sale, stuff that's for surveys, because a lot of stuff is in-house, I can bring people to the boat within 30 minutes, an hour, or something like that, fix problems. So we're pretty good at very timely repairs where the cell phone kind of management people are just calling that stuff in, and it's like they're at the whim of the company that they're calling, So
for people who don't understand what we're talking about, for the guy out there who's listening, he's like, what are you talking about, yacht management? Tell them what that means.
So at the end of the day, I kind of live in a space that generally is, on the small side, 30 feet. And we generally do up to about 60, 70 feet, because after that, people have full-time captains, and I can't make services run through a company make sense if they have a full-time captain. We still do a lot of management or maintenance and repairs on boats that are in excess of that size that are beyond what's kind of captains would handle. But after that, most of these owners on these boats, they have money, and most of them have businesses. So they want to show up, get on a boat, go have fun. And we all know that basically it's sitting in a big vat of acid that's trying to reclaim that boat all the time. And we're the people trying to keep it from going down,
Right.
So do you make them turnkey?
Do you
give a turnkey service? You have the mechanics and the AC guys?
I do not have mechanics on hand. I'll do it myself. I have no problem changing oils and stuff like that. But I worked on BMWs for a long time, and I just knew that even you're a mechanic, so you know the deal. Like when you work on one particular line, you get really dialed in on that line, and you can basically foretell the future on that motor, what's going to fail and how it's going to fail.
It's kind of, even though it's all a little different, it's all still the same.
All the same
to
thing.
A point,
That's all the same thing.
Blow, fuel comes in.
That's it. That's it.
So I'm very familiar with yacht management. I do surveys. These guys call me. I survey these yachts. So yacht management to me is you got a company who has maybe 10 yachts in his portfolio, and what he does is he makes sure that owner doesn't have to do anything. Doesn't have to pick up the phone, doesn't have to call a mechanic, a detailer, the air conditioner guy. The boat's stocked, it's clean, it's ready, the crew's there, everything's there.
Yeah.
So basically, you're a yacht management company.
It's exactly right. But we just take we take it to the next step and handle most of the repairs. A good portion of the repairs we are handling in-house.
So that's really convenient, and that's what separates you from the others, because you're able to do it right there, right then, on hand.
Exactly.
You got the part, you could do it.
Which, because I deal with a lot of boats for sale, is, most of that stuff is utmost of time and urgency. A lot of stuff is sitting. I have a lot of time on certain things of repairs, but when it's go time, somebody has to get out there and get it done quickly and handle that stuff.
Okay, so when a boat goes through survey, and the survey, like my reports, I got a list. Will they call you and say, "Hey, come by and just check off this list,
Yep,
get it done"?
Through that. Yeah, especially with the insurance companies nowadays, because a lot of times within 30 days they want this stuff repaired,
right.
And at that point we can take pictures and verify repair and functionality, and if it needs to get taken to the yard, we'll take it to the yard for them. We'll handle the communication between the yard and them, and
right.
All the above.
Right. Okay. So now, as far as where you'll go, I mean, is your company just stationed right here? Are you local, or do you travel? What?
So we are we're local. Obviously, most of my boats are local in Stewart, Palm City area, but I travel all the way down to Fort Pierce and basically or up to Fort Pierce and all the way down to Palm Beach generally. But if I've done the Keys, I've got a couple customers in the Keys. If they need stuff, I'll drop everything and run down there. And we run boats a lot. So
were you the part of that Granada escapade? Remember when the hurricane coming? Did you see the thing with the AIS? All the boats leaving the islands at its It was like freaking. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was like, wow. I bet some captains made some money that weekend. I need
doubt.
my boat out of here.
Yeah, it's exactly right, But you got to do that. Look what happens when you don't move them. And everybody looks at those little hurricane eyes and they say, hey, I'm good. I'm 30 miles north of there. I'm 30 miles south of there. And it's like, man, that thing takes a little turn and everything goes, and that's what happens. And then everybody complains about their insurance rates and nobody took care of their boats and we have a bunch of losses and that all adds up.
And I make a ton of money going out doing the damage
That's exactly.
claims.
So total.
Constructive total loss.
That's exactly right.
Right. So, okay. What about staff? You got other guys?
Yeah. So it varies a little bit, but I have 12 people, I think right now currently that are W-2 employees, 1099s, which that happens a lot in the industry too. Is like people sub this stuff out, and it's like that guy has insurance, but he doesn't have insurance for that, 1099 guy. And they're like, stuff can get screwbally. And, as we all know, the marinas have gotten silly about insurance too. So they're forcing these guys to have, workman's comp, which we have, and liability, which we have, and everything else, and when they start subbing stuff out, that management company might have insurance, but that guy you just subbed it out to may not, and
I bought liability when I came down here. Very pricey down here.
It's not cheap. It's not cheap. All that stuff adds up, it all adds to the final expense of what it takes to do stuff. Yeah.
It's just the
So is it fair to say that, you're a property manager? Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's basically what you are. So a property manager for a condo complex up north or anywhere in the United States, you're kind of the same thing for boats.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you manage the property.
Yep.
Okay. Very good and clear. Glenn's waving. I don't know why, but
I'm just making sure everything's good.
okay, good. So let's get a little personal.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to, that's fine.
No, that's good.
But what about cost?
Yes.
So let me ask you it this way. I own a 70-something foot Asmit. Mm-hmm. I want you to manage it.
Yeah.
What does that entail, and what does it cost?
It's all over the place, really, because at the end of the day, you decide what you want us to do and what level,
So it's a la carte.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I charge a certain rate for somebody to be on the boat. If I have a captain on a boat or something like that, we're $70, $75 an hour. If there's a guy on there, which I consider captain's type stuff, cleaning sea strainers and, making sure bilge pumps are working, all that stuff, and then it goes up for there. If I have my AC guys on there, obviously AC is not cheap and there's some liability that comes into that stuff, So we charge, a AC rate. If my cleaners are on the boat, we charge by the foot, and at the end of the day, it's what you want. If you want our guys on there every 3 days, I'll be on there every 3 days washing the boat, but that's a totally different number. And certain clients want to be on there, once a month, and that's a totally different number.
So do you do any annual contracts?
No, we really don't. I kind of, because I deal with mostly boats for sale, we're working off of people but I do have a lot of customers around, and we handle everything for them, but I do not charge like a monthly fee. I just charge for the time we're on boats, so,
okay.
Like hurricane plans, I have hurricanes set up with a marina down here, and, we haul a lot of boats, I don't charge a dime for that. I charge them a little bit of time to set up the contracts, the time it takes us to set up contracts, but then we just pass the expense on from there. And then, if that gets kicked in and we're running around with our heads cut off, hauling your boat.
Let it rain.
Yeah, and stuff takes. We're on the other side of the locks for the most part, so some of that's it gets jacked up when there's a hurricane coming. We're sitting in line at the St. Lucie Lock ready to go to the other side. Sometimes you got 5 hours into it.
I like LaBelle.
So who's
LaBelle?
Yeah, I like LaBelle.
Who's your common client?
So most everybody I have are business owners of some extent, and they're all over the place. Really, it's amazing the dichotomy of what we have going on. I have customers that own fast food restaurants, customer that owns dealerships. I have lawyers. I have doctors.
So you might have the 1%, or you might have the blue collar guy who's just looking to keep that boat.
Rarely do we deal with the blue collar. Everybody. I guess it depends on people's definition of blue collar nowadays, but it's expensive enough that just having a small boat, that generally your blue collar guy can afford the small boat, but he's handling most stuff himself. Just marina cost and everything else that comes along with it nowadays. You just don't find that many people that are able to.
It's very time consuming. You get the canvas guy on the boat.
You just know just a basic boat nowadays. If you got it in the water, it's costing you, $3,000 a month, between divers and dockage and insurance, and that's before you even start firing the thing up. So
It's crazy.
Oh,
if a blue collar worker has $36,000 a year to throw at the job, I'd like to talk to him because
Excuse me. I would just like to say that I just switched divers to dockside, and I'm very happy with that.
Nice.
Well, what do you
Yeah.
mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean? He was talking, you got to hire a diver. I have my boat in the water. Dockside is my diver. I have to have my hull cleaned every month.
Oh, the
Yes.
company. Oh,
Dockside.
Oh,
yes.
the
It's
company. Okay.
right now.
or even sooner sometimes. We're 3 weeks right now generally with the growth around here.
I use it a lot, and it's.
If you use it, that's perfect.
I'm
Keep it
on the
moving.
other side of the Roosevelt Bridge, so it doesn't get that bad.
On the other the west side.
Yeah, it's a long ride.
So
I know I live right there, so don't worry.
how many boats in your portfolio then?
It varies so much. This time of year we slowed down a little bit as far as the volume of people. I just ran a handful of boats up north, to be up north for the season.
Nice.
And so,
Oh, so you do that too? Captain services. You'll go up. More.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to get more into that. To be honest with you, it's just
Good stuff.
It's nice to get away. It's but we do it quick. I don't play around. We move fast. So that's
I always say this: running boats from New York to Florida, the first trip is awesome. Mm-hmm. The second sucks. And thereafter, there's nothing to see. There's nothing to do.
Like it. I actually like it. It's a little crazy. Starlink's been my savior. So, like, most of the boats now have Starlink on it, so I can still get a hold of my guys.
Right.
And, when I'm in the 100 miles offshore, jumping between St. Augustine and Charleston or something, and it's nice because I can do that. But it is a nice little break from what I normally do. It just, breaks everything up.
Yeah, you remember the sat phones at $9 a minute?
Yeah. That didn't work in the first place. Yeah, you're on the bow pulpit, like praying for like 3 seconds of communication.
Yep.
Now we're Skyping people across the middle of the ocean. No big deal.
That's awesome.
It is amazing.
Give us so in every business is ups and downs. Mm-hmm. Somebody's looking to get into this. Somebody wants to do what you do. Give us the up and downs. What
Employees are tough. That's a lot of it. What it costs to do business nowadays has gone through the roof.
Right.
It's just, my sheer expense is absurd. I think that's where it is. I mean, detailers as a rule of thumb are they can get out on their own very easily. And that's what we talk about insurance. It doesn't.
That's hard work, man.
Detailers is a hard work, but when you run it through a company,
my arms are shot. I couldn't detail people like, just why don't you go rub that fucking thing down?
And make it come out looking good. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
All these people are like, I can do that easily. How can you charge that much for it? Well, let's see what you come out with and see what these guys come out with.
What did you hire a boat mechanic to wax your boat? I mean, what the?
Exactly. Those wrenches don't do too well on buffing boats.
You know what all my customers always told me? I could always tell when you were on the boat.
Oh, boy.
It's just the way.
2 gallons of spray nine later.
No, I never cleaned anything anymore.
It's not worth it.
No, because what happens is, I've done it many times in 50 years. You can set a stain. There's my tip for the week.
Yeah.
If you get grease or something into a nice seat, don't clean it.
Yeah.
I never clean it anymore. I just, the people like, we'll work it out, but you can set it and then it's there forever.
Yeah.
I've done that. So let the boat clean. I'm just saying.
It makes sense. But once again, like, why would you want a guy charging you what you're charging per hour to be on there doing mechanical stuff to go in there and start doing the simple stuff of cleaning up the boat? That makes no sense. Physically, it makes no sense.
Right.
So it's like, go have the neighbor's kid go clean up your engine room.
Right,
as long as it's not down there spraying a hose and down like it's a car wash.
Well, what I'm saying, it's not always a planned job where you're laying everything out. Boat was doing this and that.
That's my whole life, because there's emergencies after emergencies. Yeah, I understand completely. You're coming on there. Sometimes you don't have the right tools. You didn't plan it out. But
I had 60 boats.
Yeah.
I just threw it. I was like, I'm done.
Nobody
loves me.
60 to 0. 0 to 60.
I can't drive 55, right?
That's exactly right.
So,
I get more beer? Yes. Okay.
by the way,
I
got pulled over today.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, doing 68 and a 35.
Ooh.
He gave me a warning. He was good.
Warning for 33 over. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he was a New Yorker. He was from a town over from where I was from, and he said, you know, and I also run around with a couple of badges. So
Yeah.
But he says, listen, I'm going to give you a warning. I said, wow, you know, but the rumor I heard down here is they don't care. They'll give a ticket to their own mother.
I've been lucky so far. So.
Yeah. So it's good.
Not
So and what you love about the business is.
It's just you're playing with people's toys. You know, it's not.
My God, he drinks a lot.
Yeah, it is a little scary.
You know what? It is a toy. You know why? Because everybody thinks that these. I gotta sit with you. What I'm just trying to say is everybody, you know, oh, look at the size of the boat. It's just a piece of Tupperware. It's just a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
Everything can be fixed.
And that was the one thing I told myself when I worked on cars. Frankly, I hated it, but you never really realize how miserable you are doing it until you do it. But that was one of when I started the company, I was like, listen, you know, if I don't want to deal with a customer, I'm just not going to deal with them, you know, because you've been around, 80% of your problems come from 20% of your clients. So get rid of that 20% and go find some new clients in that space. You know, there's no point in
I got a rule.
fighting it. Yeah.
I've been doing this 28 years surveying boats. Guy calls me up. I give him a price. He says, well, can you do it for? I just hang up.
No.
I hang up. And they call me, did you hang up on me? Yeah. You're not the guy I want to work for.
That's exactly right.
You know,
That's exactly right.
If you're complaining about the price of this, wait till you have a breakdown.
And that's the other thing is I treat everybody so fair. So if they're not happy with that, then it's like I can't unfair you. You know, I'm just gonna keep it as fair as I can. And if you're not happy with that, nobody's gonna be able to make you happy. And if I'm not gonna be able to make you happy, then we just part ways. It's easy enough, you know.
And you know what's funny? During COVID, everybody gouged. I didn't.
No, neither did I. I didn't. I fought rising prices. I fought it, even though my labor was going through the roof, my insurance is going through the roof, fuel's going through the roof.
And let's see, it was inflation, but who made all the money? Wow, how much wealth was transferred?
Yeah.
Inflation, huh?
Yeah.
All right, well, that's another subject.
And so if you got, you're always looking for help, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of try to stage stuff, you know, like summertime. I'm generally not trying to hire a bunch of people, you know, late fall, start hiring people, you know, that kind of keep up with stuff just because a good portion of the boats are going to come back. And
so if I got a couple of friends who have a kid that wants to get into the business, we'd definitely give you a call.
Yeah, give me a call. I'll give me a call. They're hard workers. I love it. You know, I love getting people into it, and I think it's an awesome business. So, you know, and I think there's definitely a, you know, career path for a lot of people. And, you know, if I can be that stepping stone, that's awesome. You know,
if you're not afraid to work.
Yeah,
So,
that's what the marine industry, you know, if you want to make money, if you work hard, you can make money. But,
yeah, that's exactly right. Don't be too good for anything. You know, it's like never, you know, black toilet, you know, black water system has to be worked on. It has to be worked on. You know, somebody's got to do it. I have no problem. I'll be the first one to jump down there and do it, you know. But if you're unwilling to do that stuff and you're just too good for that, and frankly, I'm the owner and I'm not too good for that, then, you know, it's like we probably aren't going to work too well together.
Yeah, and you know what? We've had Jim Allen from Chapman's on. We've had John Dial at the Helm. We've had a bunch of guests, and all these guys say the same thing. They want the youth. They want that youth coming in. You know, even the marine trades, they said they want the youth to come up. So we're all trying, you know, and I'm trying to give back too. I'm trying to say to these new surveyors, you know, I don't mind. Give me a call. Send me a report. Let me review it. Let me help you. I had a great mentor when I was coming up. His name was Greg Weeder, unbelievable guy. But he helped me too. I sent him reports. He gave me advice. And I mean, everybody needs somebody.
Yeah.
You just can't start at the top. So
especially in this industry, because there's not like a real straight career path in here. Everybody kind of converges in different methods and different areas, and you know, people learn certain things and they move to another area that's kind of a totally different direction. And, you know, like, you know, auto mechanics, you go start a dealership and you work your way up, you know, the same career path for everybody, you know.
And what's funny is there's so many branches to the trees, right? So you could work in a marina, end up being a captain, or work in a marina, end up being a mechanic. I mean, there's so many branches to that trees. You just got to figure out what you like.
Well, I mean, it's kind of, you look at a house and how simple it is compared to a boat, and it's hilarious, you know. You got to, you know, 110, 220 system, you know, and you got toilets that flush, but here we're trying to deal with the stuff that's being flushed, and we have 12 volt systems and 24 volt systems and engines and generators and
350 hose clamps.
Yeah. If not more.
Yeah. And houses don't sink.
Yeah.
These sink,
Yeah. It's
you know,
like,
so.
and then, you know, if you just put your house through a earthquake every handful of weeks, you know, and it's like, there's a lot to it.
But it's excitement.
It is. It's the grand adventure. It's like you can go buy a Bugatti and one of the most expensive cars, whatever. And at the end of the day, you're still going to end up next to the guy in a Toyota and a Honda at the stoplight. Boats and airplanes take you on adventures. That's the difference.
We always say making memories, right? That's what boating's about.
That's exactly right, because it doesn't make sense. That's for sure.
No, the cost versus what you actually do.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't make sense, but you got to make those memories.
That's it.
I did it my whole life. My parents did it for us. I mean, everybody in my family had boats. My daughter, she's 14 now. Sarah's been on boats since she's basically born.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of memories, and we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
So good. All right. So we're going to get to the segment where we take some live calls. I think we're all anxious, and Glenn, you're good, right? So you.
Yeah, I'm here.
You're awake?
I'm here. I'm awake.
I don't know if you dozed off. I don't know what's going on.
It's just the slow drone or whatever. Everything's good.
Nick's like,
you promised me dancing girls, but no, I got to listen to you. Well, anyway, go on.
Well, Glenn, when you brought the pole into the place, I was like, wait a minute. What are you doing?
Well, I'm not paying for the hole I put in your ceiling, so that's part of the contract.
Yeah. So, good. So like I said, we're gonna get some live calls again. To call in to the Nauti Buoys Boat Show, please call 772-773-2600, and we'll take your calls. We'll answer some questions, and we'll have a good time. All right. So you know what? I did want to ask you something else, Nick, before we take some calls. So you say you do a lot of survey work.
And not survey work. I run boats for surveys.
Okay, explain
I manage that. So there's going to have to be a captain on there at some point, and generally the worst thing you can have on a survey is the seller, right? That's the last thing you want on the survey. So I end up filling that role, and I'll run the boats for them, and properly run it through the stages of what's going on the boat, and they can get a good clean picture of what's going on, and
you spend the 2 days with the surveyor.
Nah, I generally spend. I generally spend. Yeah, I spend a full day. It's generally a full day on it. I did one today, so it's.
What'd you do today?
We surveyed a 48 Cavalier down in Fort Pierce.
Oh, how'd that go?
It went good. Nice. Boat ran good. Turned all the way up, and handful of things as always boats do. But hauled out and all was well.
All right, good. All right, so we got a call coming in. I got to take some of these calls. I'm sorry, Nick.
It's all good.
All right. Hi, welcome to Nauti Buoys Boat Show. Who am I speaking with, and who's your question for?
Hey, my name is Matt. I am. My question's here for Nick.
Okay, go ahead, Nick.
Hey, so every time I seem to go out, my bottom is just covered with growth and barnacles. How often should I be getting this done? It's just so bad out here. I'm over at Sunset Bay Marina.
So generally in the summer, we start cutting it down to three times or every 3 weeks. That's generally a pretty good rule of thumb. And part of it is like if you have a good diver, try to stage it when you're going out. Try to get it done before, especially if you're going before a trip or whatnot. That diver fee is way less than the fuel burn at the end of the day. So it's less effort on the motors, and it's load on motors and effort and everything else. It's well worth it, and getting a good diver. To be frank, our water quality isn't good either, and it's kind of like reading Braille. So sometimes you get good divers and sometimes you get bad divers, but you'll never know unless you're under there. You go to the Bahamas and like, I didn't do a super great job on this one or whatnot, but you got to trust your diver. And, during the summer, they should be coming out every 3 weeks.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
All right. So did we answer your question?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for calling in, and please follow, like, and subscribe.
I will. Thank you.
Take care. So, the growth down here is crazy.
Tremendous. With the nitrates and stuff coming out of Okeechobee, it is nonstop.
All right, we got another call. Let's take this. Hey, welcome to Nauti Buoys Boat Show. Who am I speaking with, and who's your call for?
Jose, and I called for Nick.
Another Nick. You're popular,
Nick.
bro.
How's it going?
Okay, Jose, go ahead.
My AC is always plugging up. What can be done?
So there's a lot of stuff that can be done for that. Sometimes you need a descale, but there's quite a few products coming out right now that are Electric has been phenomenal. We're actually dealers for them. And it's a product that basically is a chlorinator. It takes the salt water from the ocean, turns into chlorine, and makes it unhospitable for growth. So it'll reduce a lot of your problems you have in your AC units, especially right now. The last handful of years, the AC units have been maybe not quite as robust as they used to be. So the less time you're descaling them, the longer the longevity you're going to get out of the system. And, the systems tend to pay for themselves over time by lack of maintenance that would have been required. So, and I think you're going to extend the life of your equipment by a fair bit. So that would be the direction I would go. And just make sure you clean your sea strainers out at least once a week, and once again, the divers cleaning through holes and stuff like that make a big difference,
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, listen, thanks for your call, and please like, follow, and subscribe.
Super. Will do.
Take care, man.
And the other thing I didn't want to interrupt you is if you keep putting it to overheat, shut down, you're going to burn your unit up.
Yeah, you do.
So if you just keep doing it,
These new 410A units, the high pressure switch on those things are 575 psi. So you're getting up there. That's taxing a relatively.
And those Kohlers with the water flow thing in the back.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm so good. I'm semi-retired. A Kohler. No, never heard of it. Run away.
You got to be proactive with boats.
That's
You
exactly right.
It's a lot of maintenance, man.
All right, I got another call, guys. Hi, welcome to Nauti Buoys Boat Show. Who am I speaking with, and who's your call for?
Hi, my name is Drew, and I'm calling with somebody who can help me if I got a question.
Okay, is it a survey question?
Yes.
Okay, what's your question?
Okay, who am I speaking to?
Greg, the surveyor.
Greg.
Yes.
Hi, Greg, the surveyor.
Hi.
People are telling me about Formula boats. They say they're one of the better,
Yes.
and I wanted to find out more about it. They say they got some kind of styrofoam or cord inside. Could you elaborate on that?
Oh, okay. So, Drew, by the way, Formula makes a very, very good boat. They always have family business. They're not a big conglomerate. So I like Formula a lot. They make a very superior boat. When you say core, so I think I know what you're talking about. So what year and model do you have?
The 2006 PC. And the second question, what does PC mean?
Performance Cruiser. So,
Nice.
So 2006 PC, is it a 34, 40?
The 34.
34, okay. So your boat, I'll tell you how it's built. So the bottom of that boat is solid glass. The sides of that boat are balsa cord. So when they say coring, in between the fiberglass laminates, they actually put balsa, and they core it to make it stiffer, but it also makes it lighter. You can imagine if they made that boat solid fiberglass, the thing would weigh 3 times as much. So they core it with light balsa wood, and they vacuum bag it. They get the resins through it, so it's very stiff, very strong. And your decks, of course, are also balsa cord. So on Formula, I got to tell you, I haven't run into real problems with moisture issues in the core getting wet, and I haven't run into delamination issues. So they're a pretty good boat. They really, really are.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad I own one now.
Yeah. So you're a pretty lucky guy. And the other thing that Formula does, which I like a lot, is they paint their boats. So you don't have gel coat on those hulls. What color?
I was going to ask you about that. I got a black one, and people were telling me it's not gel coat, it's paint. I said, that's interesting. Didn't know that.
Yeah, so yours is black.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's really good. I'm going to tell you why. Another reason. You ever scratch that boat up? Black paint is black paint. They can repair that easy. If that's black gel coat and it's been faded over 20 years, they're never going to fix that. They have to re-gel coat the whole side of the boat. So paint is really good. They use quality paints, quality materials. So you're a pretty lucky guy to have a Formula. They're good boats, Drew.
Well, me and the bank.
All right. So I hope I answered your question. Thanks for calling in. And listen, please like, follow, and subscribe.
Sounds good to me. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right. Yeah. It's like Glenn was saying, it's all Tupperware, right?
Yeah,
so
that's exactly right.
And if any core is wet, cut it out, replace it, reglass it. I like these surveyors who turn around and go, "Oh, the boat fails because it's wet."
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It didn't take a test. How does it fail?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the frame is made of wood or a core.
Yeah.
50 years is a good life for people are like, well, it still shines on the outside, but everything does have a life end.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, but you still have these old Hatterases running around. I got another. I was going to elaborate, but we got another call. Hi, welcome to Nauti Buoys Boat Show. Who am I speaking with, and who's your question for?
Ralph Gaetano, and my question is for Glenn Shadbolt. First, I wanted to ask you a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is this the same Glenn Shadbolt from New York?
Oh boy, I guess he's famous.
Because about 10 years ago, he fixed an outdrive for me, and it worked perfectly.
Well, that's good. Because he was putting his shoes on and running out the door.
Oh gosh!
I know who Ralph Gaetano is.
All right, so go ahead, Ralph.
So okay, buddy, what's going on?
I went out on my boat. Everything was fine. I got back to the ramp, and the motor only moved about an inch with the trim, and then it stopped. The motor would work, but it wouldn't go up. What do you think I should do?
Do you hear the motor running?
I did hear the motor running, but it doesn't seem to be moving. It goes down okay, but it only comes up about...
Does the motor rev and sound weird?
The trim motor you're talking about.
It does.
So you're probably low on fluid. Has it been leaking fluid?
I'm here in Florida, and pretty much everything dissipates. So I didn't see anything wet, but I guess it could have been.
Okay, so on the side of the motor, there's a screw on the side of the power trim. It may come loose, plastic, metal, depending on the model. Don't force it all the way out, but make several turns. And then you're going to need several people to try to lift up the lower unit, prop it up, and don't crush yourself while you're trying to fill it. And there's a plastic thing. You better get the service thing on the manual.
So you think it's low fluid in the trim?
Well, that's one thing you got to check, but you got to lift up the motor. You got to make sure it doesn't come down. This quite. You don't want to get. You don't want to be like some.
Yeah.
What is that? It was right. It was right about that time he found out that he.
Right. So what I'm gathering here, and you could chime in too, Nick. I think you probably got either a leak in the cylinders or your trim is low on fluid.
Well, he's got to fill it with fluid, but what I'm trying to say is he has to.
Yeah, but the boat's got to be out of the water.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. So
those things don't use fluid, so the only way it would be low is if I had a leak, right?
Exactly.
Well, you're going to find, but every time heavy equipment, any piston, any hydraulic, every time the hydraulic comes back in, whether it's those fancy hatches on the big azimuths, it leaves residue on the shaft. So every revolution,
eliminating it at some point.
right? So if it hasn't been checked in 10 years, it could just be natural loss.
Right. So you check the fluid.
I've only owned the boat 3 years, so.
Well, and you don't know how long the person had it. So it's an easy procedure. Google it.
Yeah, okay. Or call in to the number you called, and we'll walk you through it.
Oh, great! Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. So definitely listen and like and subscribe, and we appreciate the call.
Wow, great! Thanks for your help.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, good. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty typical for outdrive stuff.
This witness protection isn't working, and people are finding me now with this. I told you I didn't want to do this, but no.
You got old customers calling. At least he said, listen, you fixed my outdrive and it worked. I mean, if he was going to call in and say, hey, listen, I got a problem, I want to refund you, then you got to go. But, okay, guys. All right, so I think we're kind of done with the calls. We're going to go into the last segment of the show where we kind of give our tip for the day. All right. And, my tip for the day is I work for several yacht maintenance companies, right? I'll tell you, they become an important part of the important part of their success is simply because they'll hire me sometimes to identify problems, right? So they'll get ahead of it. They'll get out in front of it. I just did a yacht down in Miami, and the yacht management company said, "Listen, we want to go through this yacht. We want to know, we're new to the yacht. We want to know what's going on." So I surveyed the yacht and gave him a list. Well, big list. And he said, "All right, now at least we can get out in front of it." So I think that's an important part for your business too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Lists are perfect, and getting a fresh set of eyes on it to look stuff over is always an important thing.
Yeah.
There's always stuff that somebody's going to miss along the way. And, just catching that stuff and, getting it before it becomes a real problem is huge. Sometimes it's a simple little problem and can be fixed early on, and later down the road, it becomes a way bigger problem. So.
And as a surveyor for 28 years, NAM certified, I adhere to ABYC, NAFPA, the United States Coast Guard. So I adhere to all these rules. Some of these guys on these boats that are fixing them, they haven't opened an ABYC book. They haven't opened the Coast Guard book, so they don't know.
How many wire nuts have you seen on the boat?
I'm just going to say wire nuts.
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I had a boat a couple weeks ago. I saw drywall anchors that were holding on like rod holders, like drywall anchor. I'm like, this is like.
Have you never walked up to a boat in the rain, grabbed the bow rail, and you were like, come on.
Exactly right.
Come on.
Right. So, it's funny. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to say wire nuts, but yeah. But there's so much stuff. And we're the guys that are educated in this, and this is what we do for a living. So, call the surveyor, say, hey, come in, check this yacht. Let us know what you think, and adhere to the actual rules, the CFRs, the ABYC, NAFPA, all that. And we'll set you on a straight path to say, hey, this is how it's got to be done, and this is what's got to be done.
Yep.
So that's a good thing. Glenn, what's your tip?
I think I gave it before when I saw it the other day. Please, it's upsetting. If you're plugging and unplugging your boat, do not get on or off your boat with a live electrical cord. If you're waxing your boat, hire people. And if you hire somebody and he's waxing the boat and he falls in the water holding the machine.
Right.
Right. I've just seen a lot of people get zapped.
You don't want to.
Somebody's the other day, they tried to jump on the dock with the live hose and they were losing their balance. I'm like, oh man,
Nick, is that why the men always tell the women, "Can you please unplug the shore plow?"
That's it. That's exactly right. It's the first thing you got to show them is where the breaker is. So if I fall in the water, please turn this off first.
Right. So, all right, what's your tip of the day?
Just keep things moving. I think that's the most important thing. So many of these boats just sit for so long, and you've seen it with the engines. If you can at least fire the motors up every couple weeks.
It has to go for a ride.
And rides are great, but at least rehydrate the cylinder walls, with oil and stuff, so you're not pitting up your cylinders, and getting out there. And, there's no replacement for getting out and truly moving the boat and putting turbos to work and hitting the pressure to things. And
rudder seals, drive shaft seals, pumps.
You got to keep stuff moving.
So what I think people should know about Yachts Centric and you, Nick, is you came from a mechanical background.
Yeah.
And that's so important. So when you get on a boat, you're thinking mechanical rather than glitz. A lot of these yacht management companies think glitz. Oh, there's fresh flowers, there's lemonade, there's, you're on there going, no, I want to look at these mechanics. I want to know, we're going.
I'd rather us be safe than smell like fresh flowers.
Okay. Or like beer.
Yeah, or beer. Lots of beer.
Lots of beer.
Lots of beer.
All right. So I think we had a great show. Again, I want to thank Nick Lansing from Yachts Centric. Nick, why don't you tell the people, give them a phone number, web address, email, anything. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Website, www.yachtcentric, YACHTS, centric, CENTRIC.com. And my number's 407-538-1847. If there's anything we can do for you, we can help you, or at least guide you in the way, just feel free to give me a call.
Awesome. What a great time we had. Glenn, you're satisfied?
I'm happy.
You're Captain Happy.
Captain Happy. Now it's time to eat. I hope your bride has quite the spread.
We got food. All right, so let me just end this show. So again, I would like to thank our producer Micah Murley and our production assistant Samantha. Please hit that subscribe, follow, and like button. Tune in next Thursday and every Thursday for the Nauti Buoys Boat Show. Every week we will have exciting guests, informative news. May you have fair winds, following seas, and tight lines. God bless everybody.